Hello. Hey,
Yo,
what's up, man? How you
what?
doing?
I'm doing well, man. I'm blessed. How are you, bro?
I'm also blessed, man. I like that response. Where are you
Dude,
calling in from?
Texas, Dallas.
Dallas, Texas.
Yes, sir. Dude,
Katy,
I'm
Texas. Dallas,
super
Texas.
excited to finally meet you, bro. Oh my gosh!
Yes, we're
Let's
meeting.
go.
I love it. I'm recording. Okay.
All right, cool.
How you doing, bro?
Um, I'm doing really well. I'm doing really well. Just taking
Good,
things
good.
one day at a time. Honestly, not gonna lie, starstruck because I just kept on saying all my friends like, "Yo, I'm gonna meet JH one day. I'm gonna talk to him." And then when you posted that Sunday, when you posted me on your story, and I noticed like, oh man, like I know he's doing promo with Cadillac and whatever. Like he posted me. I'm like, I was telling my friend Mumbo. He's like, I was the only one that he posted on his story out of like all the other stuff. Let's
Yeah.
go. It's gonna happen.
Let's go. I love it, man. I love it. It's great to connect. Would love a little bit of background on you. Tell me where you born and raised.
Okay.
Give me a little bit of your kind of journey to get to where you are now, and then tell me a little bit about what you're doing now.
Okay, cool. So,
And thank you for the support, man. By the way, I appreciate it. It means a lot.
no, absolutely. So my name is Tanaka, Tanaka Tava. Well, Tanaka, actually, full name, Tanaka Ishanasu Tava, which means all is well, because God is with us, who is a bringer of love, light, and joy. Shout out to my
Wow,
parents. Um,
wow.
Give me a prophetic name. Uh,
Powerful.
so my parents are actually from Zimbabwe. So they came here in '97. I was born here in the United States in '99. So first gen American. And after that, so currently right now I go to Baylor University. I'm a rising senior, studying neuroscience and theater arts, double major with an entrepreneurship minor. Man, always growing up, I loved sports. I loved acting, loved media, loved like that whole culture. And so basically, I've always just found myself always being like, in front of the camera, behind the scenes as well. And I thought I was going to be a doctor, but then I realized, you know what, it's not really for me. But I love the brain and love the mind. But, growing up, my dad and my auntie, my dad's sister, they're both entrepreneurs. So my dad has, does taxes, real estate, insurance, all that. And my auntie actually owns a private um, assisted living. So they own like three properties, all that. And then so, basically, growing up, they always kept asking me like, okay, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? And I thought I was gonna be an MBA. Then after that, I started running track. But then I always knew that I always wanted to work with people, do something with people, and definitely know that wanted to do some sort of acting, directing, writing, have my own production studio one day. So um, right now, what I'm doing is, I guess my friends call me a motivational speaker. They say I have a talent for speaking. So, posting on Instagram. I'm actually, as of yesterday or 2 days ago, I got selected to do a TED Talk. So I'm giving a TED Talk at California State University in Fullerton.
Oh,
Uh,
word. Did you just sent me something like that recently? I saw something like that recently.
yeah.
Is
I
that
sent
you?
it to you. And I like,
Okay.
I said that like I know I got that because I know you said like I'm a huge reader, but it's like but with reading I like to read quick, read fast, and then apply it. And you said like you don't read, I do, and I'm like bet. So doing TED talks, well, that's absolutely wild. That theater is coming to good use. Started a clothing line. Started my own LLC because I applied for a bunch of jobs and they rejected me. I got like over 20 rejections from internships and jobs. And like, you know what, man, it's might as well just time to jump in. Got to figure it out. So doing photography, doing all of that, man. So still trying to figure out my journey. Still trying to figure things out. But I think
Yep.
some good steps. Like this is just a sign from the guy. Like okay, you're going in the right direction. You get to connect and get to meet people. So
Got you. Okay. Let me just listen through one of your things here. 1 second.
are you listening to what? To a podcast? Yeah, I do podcasting too. Yeah, man, that's awesome. Like the journey in terms of like just like growing and that development. So I mean, of course,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Got you. Got you. Love it, man. So all right. So bet I got where you're at. Um, where do you want to take? I mean, it's fine to not know, but like, if you were to close your eyes and like envision like a lit future for yourself, are you going around doing talks? Are you running an assisted living facility? Are you a well-known speaker? Like, what do you kind of see as the main thing for you, so I know how to steer you?
Yeah. No. That's just my auntie and my dad's thing. Like, that's what
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to do that. Basically, I want to kind of steal a page from your book and steal a page from like Nick Cannon, and Devon Franklin. So that's why like these are the three influences, like you, Nick Cannon, and Devon Franklin, like speaking, producing, authoring. Oh shoot, I forgot to tell you, I wrote a book as well, a poetry book.
Nice.
Yeah,
For you.
so, but basically, eventually, I said like within the next 10 years, give that window. Definitely want to be uh, hosting TV show, and producing, executive producing that, and as well as going on speaking tours. So,
Got you. Okay, okay. Well, I mean, you're doing nothing wrong. Um, you know, how old are you?
21, just turned 21.
Congratulations, happy birthday.
Hey,
I
thanks.
mean, look, you're doing everything I did to get to where I am now.
Right.
Everything I did, I'm looking through your page right now. As we speak, you're doing it. And your content is young. It's young. It
Absolutely.
feels young too, but it's okay. It's developing. Like your crowd is the people that you're featuring are college people and da da da. And so you're getting a little TEDx. Once you get your little TEDx in, you share that video.
Yeah,
People are like,
yeah.
"Oh shit, he does TEDx." Da da da, and you just kind of keep going. I see you've been picked up on a few outlets. It could have been one line. It could have been a full article. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
You
full
work
it's
it
full
in, and
article,
then
full article.
and
Yeah.
then it starts getting picked up. The
Right.
one thing, what I really don't see, which I think that I would work in, and it took me a long way. One second, I'm going through your stories. Yeah, man, you're doing good, bro. You're doing good. You, what I don't see though is I don't see your why.
Why? Okay.
Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of on the tactically, right? Like sometimes I speak to people that have a clear why, but like they just don't know how to execute on the ground.
Right.
That doesn't seem to be your problem. You're doing a mixture of the tweet, sharing the micro content on the tweet side. You're doing some of the podcasting stuff. You're sharing some micro content. Your engagement's not high, but it's completely disjointed from where they're trying to go. In this case, you have good underground game execution, and you also have a pretty clear idea of where you're trying to go, right? Where you're trying to map to. The only thing I'm not seeing in any of your materials is why you do what you do, like who you are really,
Right.
right? Like for instance, you know, the one of the things that makes my content really cut through is because like you probably fuck with me because of what I stand for,
Right.
just as much as who I am, right? Like imagine if I was who I was, right? Like me, but you didn't know that I stood for building generational wealth in communities of color, this and that, all the things that I'm passionate about. That's the big part of the reason why you even, look to me or even, it's humbling to me that you wanting to take a page from my playbook. Like that to me is awesome. That to me shows me that I'm living in my truth and I'm resonating and I'm reaching who I'm meant to reach, right? I can't reach everyone. And even if I did reach everyone by some strange series of events where boom, I just got in front of every person on earth, let's say, right? My story isn't going to resonate with everyone.
Right.
It's just going to resonate with who is meant to resonate with. So, with that said, like I see, you're hosting podcasts, you're doing, this and that, you want to be a speaker, whatever, but I'm not seeing what you're about. Who are you really? Like what are you going for? what is it that's like your true North Star, your passion? And here's why that's important, right? It's more so than it's less about like lead with your why, like all this fluffy bullshit. It's really strategically important because it anchors you and it allows people to have a clear place where you sit in their mind. For instance, right? When people think of me, they'll say, "Oh yeah, John Henry. Oh yeah. He's the guy that was a doorman, and now, now he's a landlord. Now he's building generational wealth. Da da da. When you think of a black investor, oh yeah, you got it, you got to follow this kid, right?
Right.
Right. That's called like occupying a distinct place in someone's mind. Mm-hmm. Now you're early in your journey, so we don't know what that is going to be yet. However, I feel like this session, I'm meant to plant that seed in your mind. Cool. That when you're early in your journey, I want you to optimize for a really powerful narrative over optimizing for the most dollars.
Yeah.
And I don't feel that you're a guy that's optimizing for like a boatload of cash anyway. But what I'm saying is, when I was early in my career, right, like at your age, I had just finished building my first business.
Right.
Cool. No one gave a shit. All right, it's a fucking dry cleaner. People care now, but it was a dry cleaner, right? Like I wasn't doing anything novel. But the project that I did after that was this really weird, bizarre, incubator called Co-Found Harlem, and I was looking to, I was making noise in Harlem. I was going to build a business community there. It was something that was just like so wild and different and made no sense. I had an incubator. We were giving away resources, but we weren't charging any money.
Right.
And like what we lacked in business model, we made up for in shock factor. People were like, "Well, what? You're doing what?" And then it just had this buzz. Yo, you got to meet this kid, John Henry. Yeah, always building the entrepreneur ecosystem in Harlem, right? Yeah, that's them. And like the things I found in my career that have built the most value made almost no sense to start. And actually, those are the things that build the most brand long term.
Right.
So if you want to build a speaking career, which, by the way, so this is my 200 something session, and you're probably the first guy, I think, that has just explicitly said, "Look, I want to speak professionally." Let me tell you, bro. If it seems like you have a natural talent for it, you're articulate, but it also seems like you have a strong interest in it. Bro, this shit can and does change your life once you get it going.
Right.
I can make in an hour what I used to make in 3 months.
Right.
1 hour, bro. 1 hour.
Absolutely.
And it's like, and it's not even like it's not a life-changing amount of money, right? So, for example, my rate right now is 10 grand. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to retire off that shit. But you're telling me, when I figured out that you could even be paid to speak, I was like, well, my rate then was like 2 grand.
Right.
Still, I was lit. I was lit for me. I was like, yo, 2 G's. I was like, yo, sign me up. Boom. Okay. And then the next one, I tried to, get 2 G's, and they're like, nah, we got 500. I was like, bet, I'll take it. And then $1,000, and then 500, and then free, and then 1,000. So I'm in this range, ebbing and flowing. But the thing is, they're bringing me into their roster to speak. What are you being invited to speak on for TEDx?
So the one I'm talking about is called the highlight effect. Let me actually just pull it up real quick for you.
Yeah.
Or let me just pull it up whenever I can say it. Let me get that Microsoft Word real quick.
Yeah.
Let me turn off that alarm. So it's called, my title of the talk is called The Highlight Effect. How being your authentic self creates opportunities to achieve impact and share the vital stories of others around the world at any level, regardless of your age/identity.
Okay. And then is that entire talk supported by your own perspective, or do you have like people's stories that
Yeah.
like are you trying to be a guy that like um is there something in your life that you feel lends to that, or are you saying like take a look at Jay-Z, he mapped, he was authentic and he got to a
No,
billion,
no, no,
like
no, no.
how,
So
what?
I'm taking from my story and how the podcast and how it leveraged, and I was able to inspire my other friends and other people, and also taking some famous examples from like Damson Idris with Denzel Washington, Michael B. Jordan, or Victoria Rowell and her mentor Sally Ride, and then so I'm just combining that like, hey, this is how I was able to do this one thing. I did not
Mhm.
even expect to blow up this quickly. But just because of this, I served as an inspiration to other people. But also look at these examples of how all these people would be able to serve as examples for another person and how that affect. Because kind of like the butterfly or the snowball effect, it's just like,
Mhm.
hey, and then so what you were saying about that why, right? So I like there's this one day when I was writing down a note on my notebook, and like
Mhm.
there was this like message, like this download, the seed that was planted in me, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm the founder of a CEO of a multi-billion, multi-million, multimedia production enterprise that is going to demonstrate the gospel, shift the entertainment industry, and change the world by not just displaying black stories, but all stories by showcasing diversity of thought, expressionism, depiction of authenticity in life. It'll be a multi-generational and a multicultural organization that will have staff and crew from all over the world to showcase the reality and helping representation, empowerment, inspiration, and the actualization of freedom, creativity, and justice. And so like understanding like how you're like, okay, yeah, about building generational wealth. I mean, that's the same thing. From my dad already started that, so I'm like, okay, cool, great. But how can I continue to carry this torch, be able to grow that as crazy as I can, but also like what is one thing that I love to do? I think I would say I would consider myself a storyteller, like with the podcast and the like all the like my dreams of being on TV and whatever and writing and having that natural
Got you.
inclination. So
Hmm.
it's more of like, all right, how can I do that? Or what's going to be some sort of way that's going to how I'm going to navigate?
Super clear. Okay. Okay. Bet. So then with that, okay, I love it. I love it. So with that, um, I like that download that you got. That will be, it's an excellent starting point. That will be refined over time, right?
Right,
Because it's got to be something that's just like a one liner that's like
right,
easy for it to stick in conversation.
right.
Oh, yeah, yeah, Tanaka. Oh, yeah, yeah, he's that dude that is, fill in the
Yeah,
blank, right? So play with it. And it's actually a difficult thing to do. I don't know if you've heard that saying from Mark Twain, but he was like, yo, I was going to write you a one-page love letter, but I ran out of time, so I wrote you five. Meaning, it's actually more difficult to be concise than it is to be long.
right,
So play with it, tweak it. But like as an example, when my partners at Harlem Capital came to me, they were like, "Yo, we want to, we want to, opportunistically invest in underrepresented founders and generate returns for our investors." And I was like, "Oh man, scratch that." I was like, change the face of entrepreneurship,
right,
and it was like investing in 1,000 found diverse founders over 20 years, and immediately you could see when we changed the messaging, same vehicle, same goal, but when we changed the messaging to be something that is inspirational and that planted a seed in someone, that really changed how it is that people were receiving us. And so similarly here, you're an energetic kid, bright kid, likable, your energy is clearly on point. And over time, what I want you to do is I want you to work on refining how it is that people are taking you in, right?
right.
Because so here's the interesting thing, right? It's like physically, right? Physically, if I don't extend these sunglasses out to you, you can't pick them up,
Absolutely.
right? So you can't pick up what I don't put down. Okay. Now, so what's interesting is that that's really easy to grasp in the physical, but so too in the branding and marketing world, especially if you want to get into TV. And I can offer some really practical nuggets around that. But so too, if you don't extend out for someone to pick up who you are, what you're about,
Yeah,
then you're leaving it really open to interpretation. And what you'll find is you have a clear idea of yourself, but the general public, especially if they're coming across you for the first time, like when people first come across my content, you know, you know who I am, I know who I am, and the people that have been rocking with me for years know who I am. But the reality is, there's more people that don't know me than that do. And when they hit you for the first time, they're taking you in for the first time, right?
Mm.
And they might find you from a one piece of content or different piece of like the different. You'll share different things, little bits of micro content, and some of those will pop and get a little bit viral, right? Not crazy. You don't have to get crazy viral, but
Right.
people will share it, and then they'll say, "Oh, who's this?" And then they'll click through into your world, right? And then who you are and what you're about has got to be the thing that leads. So for someone to say, "Wow, oh, I fuck with this kid. Let me let me stick around." Look, they follow, and then they stay in your universe, right? And
Mm-hmm.
when they stay in your funnel, that's when you nurture them over time with a little snippet of your life, a little bit of a tweet, a little bit of a Nipsey excerpt, like you're doing. You know, like all the things that you're doing work really great once they're in your funnel. So
Mm.
all we got to do is craft how it is that you want to be received in the hearts of men and women. How do you want to be received? And that is actually a pretty philosophical and spiritual question.
Right.
But it's also a marketing question, right? It's like, and you'll play with it, tinker around with it, play around with the bio, tinker around with like, hey, you know, for instance, you said something earlier around like sharing the gospel, let's say. So it's like, Tanaka Tava, you know, um, you can choose to lead with the gospel, like be like, yo, sharing the gospel one talk at a time, or I don't know, whatever it is. You're gonna have to
Right.
tweak it until it feels something that's really authentic to you. And so now let's move beyond that. But here's what's gonna happen, right? Once you dial that messaging in. By the way, it took me years, so I don't want it to seem like it's something that comes quick. It's
Right.
like at first my initial messaging that I popped with was 9 to 5 is not enough. I dropped I dropped a video that was like fire. It was like because that's who I was at the time. I was 20. I was your age. You know, I'm not too far from your age now. You know, I'm 27. But at 21, I was all about working all fucking day. Let's go.
Go.
Right. That was my energy. So I dropped this video. 9 to 5 is not enough, and like that's what you call a hero piece of content. You know, it's like it shows you in a hero light,
Right.
and it builds emotional resonance around who you are. That was my messaging at the time. I've since outgrown that messaging. Then it became something else. Now it's all about building generational wealth. So like I'm kind of in that. That's now my new thing, right? But here's what happens. Okay, once you have a clear understanding of how it is that you want to be perceived and digested and downloaded in the hearts of people, right? Then what happens is people start saying, "Oh yeah, yeah, Tanaka Tava. Oh yeah, yeah, that's that kid that's doing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, X, right? You fill in that blank. We talked about that. But here's what happens when you do fill in a blank. Okay, remember, if you don't occupy a place in someone's mind, you occupy no place,
Yeah.
right? It's not enough to occupy a few half, carved out places, distinct, right?
Yeah.
And then what happens is you start coming top of mind for opportunities. And in the speaking world, that looks like, someone is hosting a panel, right? And the organizers of the event are there, and they're like, "Yo, you know what? You know who we're looking for? We're looking for really bright, young men of color, who have really interesting stories to tell about, whatever category it is you're looking to grow in." And someone in there, this is the goal that we're going for, will be like, "Oh yeah, yeah. Have you heard of this guy Tanaka Tapa?
Yeah.
No, I haven't heard of him. I love his stuff. You should check him out here." They'll pull you up, right? And then they'll show, yeah, look, check through, and then they'll play a few pieces of your content, and they'll be like, "Well, yeah, he sounds pretty. All right, invite him. Hey, Tanaka, what's going on? Listen, we have an opportunity. We don't have a whole lot of budget. We got a little bit. We got $500, you know, to join this panel in Philly, and we'll cover your hotel and lodge, your travel and lodge. Are you interested? Yeah, absolutely. You go, you do the talk, you record it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because again, people aren't picking up what you don't put down.
Exactly.
So now what you're putting down is, hey, I'm a speaker. I do this. Your TEDx opportunity, massive,
Crazy.
right? Definitely you'll record it. Definitely you'll do your best you can, and you'll tell the story that you're working on, which right now is like, okay, the authenticity story. Great. That story will evolve,
Yeah.
but that's what it is right now. So then, boom, and by the way, I did a full year of speaking entirely for free, anywhere and everywhere I could. Yo, you need a speaker? I'm in. I'm in. I'm in. I'm in. No budget, no problem. Okay. I didn't. To be honest, I didn't even know you could get paid at that time to
Right.
speak. I'm speaking. I'm speaking up. Why? Because I'm just getting my reps in. I'm getting reps, 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 reps. I am recording everything I'm doing because the real tangible value of doing a free talk is the content that comes from it.
Absolutely.
Because you do one talk, like when you start, your talks are not going to be an hour long. Mine are an hour long now. You start, you might get 10, 15 minutes on stage. Great. You got 10, 15 minutes. If you can spot a few hot moments from that talk, you record it, you share it.
Mm-hmm.
Now all of a sudden you're communicating out to the ethos, right? Hey, yo, this is what I speak on. This is how I do it. This is how I roll. This is who I am. This is my energy. And you're communicating consistently around what your core messaging is, which remember changes over time.
Right.
For me before it was hustle. Now it's different. But what happens is as you grow, people start saying, "Yo, you got to take note of this kid.
Right.
We got to have this." Then you start becoming a must have in the roster. When there is uh, a s- uh, a summit or something like that around like entrepreneurs of color, I'm a fucking must.
Right.
One of them.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
of them. Right? Not the only, not the highest maybe, but I'm one of the ones that definitely comes up in conversation. For sure. And guess what? That's all you can do. You can't force anyone to book you. But what you can do is force them to consider you as an option. How? Through content, content, content. All you're trying to do is come up in these conversations when you're not in the room. If you are not in the room and decision makers are evaluating whom they're going to bring in and what opportunities they have for who and how much they're paying who, I need you to be coming up in that conversation.
Absolutely.
So then the question is, well, how do you get there? We talked about that content. But if you get tactical, the broader the conversation, the more difficult it'll be for you to get that real estate.
Right.
But the more niched down the conversation is, the more you can effectively cover that ground. Right? So what I want you to do is figure out what niche it is you're going to dominate. When I started, I wasn't the wealth kid, right? Any of that shit. I was a Harlem entrepreneur.
Right.
Tanaka. If you Google Harlem entrepreneur right now,
Is you.
my face literally comes up.
Right.
And every page every listing on that first page. I didn't optimize for that. I didn't spend any money on that. I didn't do anything but live my life authentically. But the point is, I ended up dominating that. Right? So now, T, I want you to dominate a category. When you figure out what your why is going to be, right? I want you to produce content around that podcast, everything that you're doing, except it's now, instead of it now being kind of one off, because right now your efforts are good, but they're disjointed, it seems. When you have the why, it's going to all funnel in the direction of the why, which is going to bring you to life in the imagination of people. And then you're going to start slowly occupying some mind share.
Right.
And then they're going to say, oh, yeah, Tanaka. Yeah. He's that guy that's X.
Right.
Fill in the blank. But that blank, you are giving them what you want them to fill it in with.
Okay.
You're not leaving it open to interpretation as much as possible. You are saying, yes, Tanaka, I'm that guy that's doing this. Spreading the gospel to black men, as an example. In my case, it's, building generational wealth, communities of color. Oh, yeah, John Henry, you got it here. Anytime that comes up, I come up. Anytime your bucket comes up, I need you to come up. And that takes time.
Right.
You can't buy that. You just sow your seeds, sowing your seeds,
Right.
sowing your seeds. Eventually, you become that dude. You start getting opportunities. At first, they're free, then they're paid, and then people say, "Hey, listen, we want you to be part of this, docu-series that we're doing. We're not paying, but you get a lot of exposure. You get looped into that video series. You get a beautiful piece of content made for you that gets 500,000 views. All of a sudden, your followership grows. People are like, whoa, who's this? They discover your story. They come into your funnel. Out of those people, one of them ends up being a producer, reaches out to you and says, hey, look, we're working on this, potential TV show. We'd love to, see if you might be interested in being the host for that. I see that you're already doing similar things. So then you kick that process going. By the way, when someone reached out to me about my TV show, it took 2.5 years
Right.
from when they reached out to when it came to fruition. All in that meanwhile, though, I'm doing my thing with it without anyone.
Right.
I'm still speaking. I'm still doing my thing. I'm started. Then I started getting invited to host podcasts. Now I'm hosting podcasts. Now I'm doing this. Now I'm doing that. And it all snowballs. And then you get your TV show. By the time you get the TV show, you'll have had it in your mind. Like, it won't even feel like, oh shit, I'm on TV, because you already have been manifesting that for some time.
Right.
Right. But the key always, though, is when Vice looked me up to see if I was going to be the guy, what did they do? John Henry found me, and then they looked through all my history, all my YouTube videos, all your content. Everyone's going to see everything that you're already doing. And you're going to have the body of work over years to support you and stand you up and make it clear why you are an excellent choice to be a host.
Absolutely.
So this is one of those instances in which typically, people have like their understanding of where they want to go, but they don't know how to get there. I actually think the opposite for you. I think it's really clear based on your implementation. For instance, you posted something 2 days ago. Thank you, everyone who believed in me and doubted me.
Right.
I'm grateful. You're amazing. I love all my friends. I am nothing with God and my people. This is just the beginning of greatness. Thank you. Super simple, right?
Yeah.
But that shows to me a very advanced understanding of social. Being as simple as it is, because people whom protect the social don't post anything but perfectly produced pieces of content, that those don't even resonate.
Right.
You did that on Instagram stories and you screenshot it and then you uploaded it to your feed, did you not?
Yeah.
Exactly. You went simple with a message from the bottom of your heart. You uploaded it and you shipped it. Next piece was a Nipsey piece. Shipped it. The next one, your next guest on your shipping. So your tactic and on the ground game is really strong. Your strategy, what you're mapping to where you want to get to, also strong. All you're missing is the layer on top of that you are going to put some intentionality around how it is that people are consuming you, or digesting you in their minds, in their hearts. You already have that within you. All you need to do is give them that one-liner. That's all I need.
Right.
And you will see, by just making that slight tweak, all your effort is now pulling in this direction. They'll all know how to take you in, how to consume you, how to share you. Yeah, you got to hear about my friend Tanaka. He's doing this. Oh, he's awesome, dude. He's the one. Blah blah blah.
Right.
You need to emit that frequency into the world because you're already vibrating there. You just haven't named the. Imagine if there was a radio station that you loved, but you didn't know what the radio station was. You didn't know it was 92.9.
Right.
Every time you cross the station, you're like, wow, I love this track. but so and you're communicating out to the world, yo, listen to my radio station. I'm at 92.9. You're naming your frequency and you're allowing people the chance to dial in a little bit more clearly.
Right.
And when you can allow them the opportunity to dial in, it's not a guarantee that they will dial in. It's just improving the likeliness with which someone can find you, dial in. You're framing the way they consume you, and then you grow in their hearts over time. And then you get to the point where you have a tribe, real dedicated following that rocks with you no matter what. And that becomes the bedrock for bigger branded opportunities down the road, A, and B, bigger compensation when you speak, because you're going to have an enthusiastic fan base that follows you everywhere.
Yeah.
And then ultimately that leads to opportunities on television, because the stark reality of television is when they're evaluating who's going to host it, they look for your platform first.
Right.
And you're going to have a robust, highly enthusiastic, and highly engaged fan base. And the TV network will say, perfect, this guy will help offset some of our marketing costs because he already has fan base. Let's go with Tanaka Tava, which, by the way, is a great TV name.
I know. I know, like, high key. It is a great name. I mean, it's just, I think it's, at this point, it's just more of a, as you said, I think it's just a matter of time. I realistically, well, not even realistically, I hate using that word, but just the framework. I mean, of course, and I was like just listening to that message. It's better to have 70K. I was actually just talking with my friend, talking to me about your video. Like, it's better to have 70K than it is to have 1 million. But even then, how you can use and leverage that opportunity to create and making sure that everybody wants to eat. Because if you can ask, like, all my friends or like anybody that knows me, I'm always about including everybody, or at least giving them an opportunity to eat. Like, whatever little that I have, I'm going to give to you, or whatever how much I have, I'm going to give to you, because I know that so many people have been given to me when I didn't deserve it or anything like that, and they're giving me a chance, and I'm like, I hated it when I was like, man, I always used to feel like, oh man, I was overlooked and all that. But I'm like, you know what, F it, man, forget it. Like, you guys can't notice it, I'm going to take it, but I'm going to make sure I'm going to notice the people that aren't being noticed, or help out any way that I can. Like, let's do this, let's go. Always trying to put my people on, always trying to give them some sort of leverage and be able to hopefully grow together and just build.
Exactly. So I love it, man. I would be encouraged if I were you. I'm optimistic about your future. I think you got it all. You got the name, you got the looks, you got the approach, you got the energy, you got the substance, you got the tactics. Just admit out there what your frequency is, how you want to be taken in, what you want to be known for, and live that out in word and deed, and continue sharing your process. And that will manifest into opportunities that then, they start small, but then
Right.
they get to the point where you can then, live your life doing this full time as a profession and build upon your father's legacy. Then you get to the point where you're making so much cash, you can actually start working real estate in, and
Right.
But that's a conversation for another day. But I love it, man. I'm glad we're connected. I want you to hit me up anytime. I'll shoot you a follow on the gram so I can stay tuned with what you're doing. And yeah, man, you're committed to the long haul, so I'm not worried about that. But just stay on it. And yeah, man, let me know how I can be helpful beyond this. My inbox is always open to you.
Hey, grateful. Quick question. One last question. Was it okay that I recorded this as well? And do you think I can upload the audio to my podcast?
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Oh man, dude, I'm just so super grateful that you just gave me so much gems, and that it means a lot that you say that I'm on the right path. I know a lot of people have confirmed that, but this is just even a bigger confirmation from somebody that's self-made millionaire, that just to another potential self-made millionaire. That's not even potential. Will be one day.
It's coming.
It's coming. I received that fully, and I just want to say I'm super grateful for all that you've done, for posting me, and for even conversating, and this was super huge encouragement. Thank you so much, bro.
Awesome, man. Awesome, bro. It is received, and I'm glad you received the encouragement, because yeah, man, when I'm just a good detector of energy, and I can tell that it's all in the right place for you. So keep at it, keep pushing.
Yes, sir.
Give me 24 months, maybe 24 months locked in, posting, sharing, tweaking. You give me 24 months, and your next 24 months after that are completely different. I promise you.
I know
all
that.
right?
Like 6 months, man. 10x talk. About 21.
Yeah, right?
Hey,
Say no more. I haven't even done a TEDx talk, by the way, so there you go.
grateful.
My guy.
My guy.
Be well, bro.
Yes, sir.
Peace, man.
Peace.